Today's story centers on a striking visual detail from the Vatican conclave. Some cardinals wore black robes instead of the traditional red. This isn't just a fashion choice, it's rooted in their ecclesiastical heritage.
Exactly. These cardinals belong to Eastern Catholic churches, which maintain distinct traditions separate from the Latin Church. Their black attire reflects their regional identity, even as they hold high-ranking roles in the Vatican.
The 5 cardinals in black include Louis Raphael Sako from Iraq, Basilios Klimas from India, and Berenices Demirous Surafil from Ethiopia. Each represents a unique Eastern rite, like the Syro-Malabar or Ethiopian traditions.
The Latin Church, by contrast, dominates with over 1 billion members, while Eastern churches like the Greek Catholic Ukrainian or Syrian rites have smaller followings. Yet all are in communion with Rome, sharing the Pope's leadership.
Red, meanwhile, symbolizes the blood of Christ, and the cardinals vow to defend the faith. It's also tied to Roman patrician traditions, where red was a sign of imperial power.
The contrast highlights the diversity within Catholicism. These cardinals' choices aren't just about style, they're a testament to centuries of cultural and liturgical traditions preserved within the Church's global structure.
Today's story centers on a high-stakes meeting between Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, and U.S. President Donald Trump. Carney, who just won a general election, made it clear Canada isn't for sale, while Trump fired back with his signature line, "Never say never."
The tension stems from Trump's recent tariffs on Canadian goods, which Carney vowed to challenge. Despite their political rivalry, the two leaders avoided direct confrontation during their Oval Office chat. Trump even praised Canada as a marvelous marriage of nations, though Carney firmly rejected the idea.
Context is key here. Carney's Liberal Party campaigned on opposing Trump's trade policies, which have disrupted global markets. Yet, the meeting didn't yield immediate breakthroughs. Trump admitted he wouldn't suspend tariffs, and Carney downplayed expectations of progress.
What's at stake? Canada's economy relies heavily on U.S. exports, but Carney's government aims to diversify ties. The conversation highlighted a delicate balance, maintaining friendly relations while pushing back against Trump's protectionist agenda.
The exchange also revealed personal dynamics. Trump called Canada a special place for him, but Carney's firm stance underscored Canada's sovereignty. This isn't just about tariffs, it's a test of how far Trump will go to pressure Canada's leadership.
For now, the outcome remains unclear. While Trump's never-say-never rhetoric hints at continued pressure, Carney's message was unequivocal. Canada's independence is non-negotiable. The real question is whether this meeting sets the stage for future negotiations or deepens the divide.
The U.S. government, through Secretary of State Marco Rubio, revealed a covert operation that rescued Venezuelan opposition figures from the Argentine embassy in Caracas. The embassy was under Brazilian custody, and the group was led by Mara Corina Machado's team, who were in asylum since March 2024 after being targeted by the Venezuelan prosecutor.
Argentina's president, Javier Milei, called the operation an extraction against Maduro's regime, while Rubio framed it as a victory against a legitimate regime that violated human rights. The rescued individuals include Magali Meta and Pedro Urichurtu, who had been held for over a year.
The operation highlights tensions in the region, with the U.S. and Brazil jointly managing the embassy's custody. The ONU investigation notes Maduro's increased repression of dissent, which this rescue attempt directly challenges.
The group's relocation to the U.S. underscores the geopolitical stakes, Maduro's crackdown on opposition, the role of foreign governments in shielding activists, and the broader implications for Venezuela's political stability.
Critics argue the operation bypassed diplomatic protocols, while supporters praise it as a necessary act of solidarity. The U.S. claims the move protects regional security, but questions remain about long-term solutions for Venezuela's crisis.
The rescue marks a pivotal moment in the struggle for power, with the U.S. leveraging its influence to counter Maduro's control. The next steps will likely involve legal battles and diplomatic pressure, keeping the story at the center of regional politics.
Israel has approved a plan for indefinite occupation of Gaza, escalating military operations and bombings. This move risks undermining peace talks and worsening the humanitarian crisis.
Brazil and other nations are condemning this, warning that such actions violate international law. The Brazilian Ministry of Foreign Affairs explicitly called for Israel to halt the plan, citing the dire impact on civilians.
The plan includes intensified ground operations and airstrikes, echoing previous attacks that broke a fragile truce. Forced displacement of Palestinians is a major concern, with humanitarian groups warning of further devastation.
Brazil has long criticized Netanyahu's actions, framing them as colonial and unethical. They've pushed for a permanent ceasefire and full Israeli withdrawal, but U.S. vetoes have blocked UN resolutions aimed at addressing these issues.
The Israeli government claims the offensive is necessary to combat Hamas, but critics argue it prioritizes military gains over human life. The situation remains dire, with millions in Gaza facing starvation and disease.
International pressure is mounting, but without decisive action, the cycle of violence and suffering will continue. The world must confront the moral and legal implications of this conflict.
The latest escalation in the India-Pakistan conflict has reignited tensions over Kashmir, a region both nations claim. India bombed the Pakistani side on Tuesday, killing 26, citing attacks by militants on their territory in April. Pakistan retaliated on Wednesday, claiming 12 deaths.
This isn't the first time the two nuclear-armed nations have clashed. Their rivalry dates back to the 1940s, with Kashmir at the center of their dispute. India's military budget in 2024 was $74.4 billion, the sixth largest globally, while Pakistan's was $8.4 billion.
India's forces are larger, with 1.5 million troops, compared to Pakistan's 660,000. But Pakistan's alliance with China gives it strategic leverage. The JF-17 Thunder fighter, co-developed by China and Pakistan, is a key example of this defense partnership.
Pakistan's military relies heavily on Chinese equipment, including submarines and air defense systems. This dynamic complicates the conflict, as China's support could shift the balance of power. The attack on Pakistan raises questions about India's motives and the risks of further escalation.
Both nations have nuclear capabilities, making this a high-stakes standoff. The recent clashes could deepen distrust, with implications for regional stability and global security.
Bye-bye.
North Korea launched multiple short-range missiles into the Japan Sea on January 30th, according to South Korean military sources. The launches occurred around 8:10 p.m. local time from Wonsan, a coastal city in the north.
The projectiles did not enter Japan's exclusive economic zone, which extends 370 kilometers from its coast. This area grants Japan rights to exploit marine resources and enforce environmental protections.
South Korea is coordinating with the U.S. and Japan to share intelligence on the launch. This follows a pattern of North Korean missile tests, which have increasingly targeted the Japan Sea in recent months.
North Korea's missile program violates UN Security Council resolutions banning nuclear-armed ballistic missiles. However, Pyongyang has accelerated development of missiles across all ranges in recent years.
The regime also exported short-range ballistic missiles to Russia for use in the Ukraine war, according to U.S. and allied intelligence. Moscow and Pyongyang have denied these claims, though North Korean troops are reportedly fighting in Russia's Kursk region.
This latest test underscores North Korea's continued militarization and its strategic ties to Russia. Analysts warn the missile tests could destabilize regional security and escalate tensions with neighboring countries.
The conclave has begun, and today's update is critical. Black smoke rose from the Sistine Chapel's chimney, signaling no pope has been chosen yet. This is the first round of voting, and new round will take place tomorrow.
Exactly. The process is methodical. Once a pope is elected, his first act is selecting a new name, a tradition dating back to Jesus Christ, who renamed Simon the fisherman as Peter.
Right? The name choice is deeply symbolic. It often honors saints, apostles, or previous popes. For example, Pope John Paul II paid tribute to both John XCI and Paul VI.
And the names are far from random. Jew, Gregorio, Bento, Clementi, and Leo are among the most popular. Jew alone has been used 21 times, though the count is muddled by historical errors.
The numbering isn't always straightforward. Jew XEI was the last to use that name, but the count skips numbers like Jew 16 and Jew XX due to controversies or mistakes. Similarly, Bento 16 is the last Bento, but Bento X is excluded as an antipope.
The name Pio is also contentious. Pio XII, who reigned from 1939 to 1958, faces criticism for his silence during the Holocaust. Yet, the tradition persists, with names like Simplicio or Zacharias used only once.
The selection often reflects admiration for past popes. For instance, Bento 16 chose his name to honor Bento 15, known for peace efforts during World War I.
A unique case is Pope Francis, who chose the name in honor of Saint Francis of Assisi, influenced by Cardinal Clodio Hums, a Brazilian priest. Hums' advice to not forget the poor shaped his decision.
The conclave's outcome will determine the next pope's legacy. The name chosen will carry centuries of tradition, history, and symbolism.
And the process continues. We'll keep you updated as the conclave unfolds.
The FAA has approved SpaceX to increase Starship launches to at least 25 per year, up from 5. This decision hinges on claims that the expansion won't cause significant environmental harm.
The approval comes as SpaceX's Texas base, now officially named Starbase, became a city last week. Voters, mostly SpaceX employees, approved the change 212 to 6.
The city's creation raises questions about Elon Musk's influence. SpaceX controls access to a state park and beach during launches, which are already closed for safety.
Critics worry about Musk's growing control over the area, but local authorities support the move for jobs and investment. SpaceX also manages roads, utilities, and even provides education and healthcare.
The FAA's environmental review was key to the approval. SpaceX's plan to scale operations is a major step for their Mars ambitions, though critics say the region's ecosystem remains vulnerable.
With 25 launches annually, SpaceX aims to accelerate its Starship program. This could reshape space travel, but the balance between progress and local impact remains a contentious issue.
The Vatican's conclave to elect Pope Francis's successor has officially begun today, with cardinals gathering in Rome to choose the next leader of the Catholic Church. This is a historic moment, as the process has already sparked global anticipation, especially among Brazilian Catholics who are closely following the proceedings.
Right, and the conclave is expected to last between 2 to 3 days, which is standard for such elections. The cardinals will meet in secret, voting in rounds until a 2/3 majority is achieved. It's a process that balances tradition with the need for consensus.
The Brazilian reaction is particularly lively, with memes and social media buzz highlighting the cultural significance of the Pope's role in the country. Many are speculating about potential candidates, though the Church maintains strict secrecy during the voting.
Exactly. While the Church emphasizes confidentiality, the global community, especially in Latin America, views this election as a pivotal moment for the Church's direction. The new pope will face challenges like modernizing the Vatican's image and addressing internal reforms.
The conclave's outcome could reshape the Church's approach to issues like climate change, LGBTQ plus inclusion, and relations with other faiths. It's a rare moment where the world watches the Church's leadership transition in real time.
And with the cardinals' diverse backgrounds, the final decision will reflect a blend of traditionalist and progressive perspectives. The next pope's first steps will likely define the Church's trajectory for years to come.
The Vatican's conclave menu has sparked interest, featuring light meals designed to reduce stress for cardinals. Giorgio Calabrese, a nutritionist, crafted the plan to ensure energy during voting sessions.
The menu avoids heavy dishes like carbonara, focusing on easily digestible options. Breakfast includes sweetened toast and fruit, while lunch offers pasta with tomato and fresh basil.
The nuns at Santa Marta manage the actual food service, though Calabrese's recommendations guide the choices. Meals are tailored to accommodate dietary restrictions like gluten or lactose intolerance.
Dinner features grilled fish and white meats, with wine allowed in moderation. The emphasis on lightness reflects the need for focus during the election process.
The menu's simplicity underscores the gravity of the cardinals' role, balancing nourishment with the demands of their historic task.
Bye-bye.